This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and this is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 9/8/20, and this is show number 112. So, Nick, we didn't manage to hook up on Friday, holiday weekend craziness, but markets took a big spill, and it looks like it's continuing today. What's your take?
Yeah, well, right now we had the sell-off really start on Thursday. Friday was a pretty wild day. I normally wouldn't expect to see that kind of movement or action ahead of a major holiday. Normally it's very quiet and the volume is light, but the Thursday and Friday the volume was very, very heavy in both sessions. And today we're really going right back into another wild trading day. So we'll see what it gives us overall. But on Friday, I have to say, the markets held up pretty well by the close, especially areas that have been beaten down, like financials, hotel stocks, airlines, and believe it or not, the cruise lines. They all hung in there pretty well on Friday, and many of them carving out a positive day. Meanwhile, the markets were all over the place. Now, money has come out of the Nasdaq. That's been the theme lately, the last 3 trading sessions, and it's happening again today. But the Nasdaq was bloated. It was overbought. It was up 30% for the year. So this is not a shocker. Plus, we are in that window now where it's 60 days. Basically, we're in that 60-day window from the election. And there are a lot of, high-powered billionaire liberals that do not want the president in there. So I would be careful going all the way into the election. Just expect a lot of chop right now. We could see more downside in the near term. I would not rule that out. But again, I think it's going to lead to another excellent buying opportunity.
All right. Well, that's interesting take on things. The election seems like a lot of people are very concerned about it. Me personally, not. It'll work out the way it's going to. But one thing we did see last Friday, unemployment down and continuing claims way down.
Yeah, we did see that. I mean, on Friday, I think on Thursday, initial claims, I believe, were lower, under 1 million. I think they were at around 881,000. So that was really good to see. And then on Friday, we had the non-farm payroll report, which was also much, much better than expected. And, things are improving. And as these economies open up, we've talked about it on this program for so long, things will just continue to get better. But the problem is, you have a lot of states where things are still shut down. And again, it's pretty amazing to see, what the markets have done. But Wall Street is a little bit different than Main Street. And, you got a lot of money printing going on, and that certainly has been one of the major catalysts. So, again, we'll see how it all plays out going forward. But this is the kind of environment that we're seeing right now and dealing with. So, again, I think the election risk is our biggest headwind here.
Hey, well, just as a point of reference, yesterday on Monday, the deaths from COVID hit like a major milestone low. In Florida, we had 22, and in the U.S., we had 224. So, in my county here, Palm Beach County, they're going to phase 2, and they're going to gradually draw this thing out till mid-November. But what do they do when the number of deaths goes down to 2 or 0? Are they going to keep doing this, or is the governor going to force them to open up?
Well, a lot of them are continuing to do it. Look at New York State. I mean, there's barely any new COVID cases, and they continue to keep things, in a phase 1 or whatever phase they want to talk about. I have to say, I was in over the weekend for Labor Day. I was up in towards the Jacksonville area, and things are wide open, and people are just done with it. So again, I think things will start to open up, and I think people are really, really done with the whole, COVID, whatever you want to call it, pandemic. I'm not even sure what to make of it, but I tell you, I saw a lot of people from Georgia up in northern Florida this weekend in a nice little beach community that I was at, and everybody is just going about their business, and they really are done with this virus.
Hey, and I in Palm Beach County, I went to one of my favorite restaurants, and guess what? No mask in the restaurant. There must have been 250 people there. Everybody was dancing, and if you were like worried about whatever, then you danced outside. And it was the first time where I said, wow, maybe we actually will get back to normal, because look, when the deaths go down to nothing, in Florida, they're going to reopen. I don't know what the rest of the country is going to do, New York, etc. But here, I do know, they're just going to reopen the place, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you have to do. Honestly, you can't keep the country shut down. You can't keep the economy shut down. I mean, it's just too much of a tragedy that you're going to be facing after that. I mean, just think about the loss of jobs that really didn't have to go by the wayside like they did. And it's really a sin to see what has happened. Hopefully we learn from this. I'm not sure if we will. There are still a lot of people out there that are, plenty scared of everything. And again, it's unfortunate, but the mainstream media has a narrative, and they stick to it pretty well.
Oh, yes, they do. And the moral of the story is don't trust anything that Mr. Dr. Fauci has to say, and that pandemics are far too important to be left to the doctors.
It really is. It really is true what you said there. I mean, we just have to, sometimes just do our own research, and everybody today is capable of doing it. And I wish everybody would get on board and start to do their own research, start to investigate themselves, and just stop listening to, people that just have some type of agenda out there. I mean, this is a great country, but, it doesn't always have to be a great country. It could really come under a lot of not only political undue or unrest or civil unrest, but I mean, if we let this country fall the way it just fell, I mean, you had unemployment over 30 million. Just think about if you were to stay, this country were to stay locked down for another 6 months. I mean, you'd have, bigger than a Great Depression, and to get out of it would take even longer.
Hey, so one thing, we don't usually talk so much about international affairs, but China is threatening to dump U.S. debt as a result of the tensions that are taking place between the U.S. and China. And at one point, China maybe held, couple trillion dollars worth of debt, but that was out of like 14 trillion. Now they own a trillion or so, trillion and a half out of like 30 trillion. So their percentage of holding U.S. debt, not so great. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's a drop in the bucket. If they were to do so, I don't think it's going to really make that big of a difference personally. All in all, we'll see. I think China is just trying to get back to the bargaining table here and really create some kind of a deal with the United States, because it's getting uglier and uglier between the two countries. It's sort of a Cold War, but each country kind of depends on the other at the moment. So there'll be a point in time where I think the U.S., if they play their cards right, could really just say, hey, we're done with China altogether. I'm not sure they want to do that at the moment, and I think that's why it hasn't happened. But I do foresee a point in time where that can happen.
Hey, well, that's the so-called decoupling. And look, if we did it right now, basically Amazon would have nothing to sell. Walmart would be empty. Target would be empty. Gradually, they're moving the supply chains. We see that a lot of Japanese companies are folding up operations in China. A lot of American companies are. But for right now, the world is in no state of shutting down China. China's become effectively, Nick, a pariah state after their the disgraceful way that they handled the coronavirus and not being transparent, not helping the world prepare for it, then going around the world while it was sweeping through China and world not knowing, and then buying up the PPE, the personal protection equipment, and creating a shortage in the rest of the world. And countries that were positive in their relations with China are now really just saying we're done, like Thailand. Thailand was going to build this big canal through the lower half of the country, and they were buying nuclear submarines or submarines from China, and now they've just said nope, we're pulling back. And the same with the Philippines. A lot of countries have just written China off, and potentially dangerous for the world, but what is that going to be for the U.S. and for China? That's really the question. And I guess a lot of that depends on whether Trump is reelected or not.
That's really what it will depend on. Honestly, if Trump's not reelected, I could see China becoming basically colonizing the United States. Personally, that's my take. I mean, some people may not like what I have to say, but I do a lot of due diligence. I do a lot of research. I watch what goes on. I watch where these companies get located. I watch where these factories get developed. And again, if people think I'm kidding, they should go do their own research. You just go up and take a look at some of the companies located in Massachusetts.
Yeah. And when you look at it, China already has colonized Las Vegas. It's all catered to the international Asian gamblers from China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and all the casinos. They all have Chinese themes, Chinese symbols scattered throughout. The newer casinos being built exclusively for Asian Chinese gamblers. So, and then you look at LA and San Francisco, and some colonization has taken place there as well. So if it's not Trump, then nobody is going to stand up to China. That's where we're at. So
yeah, I mean, we can't see Biden standing up to China, right? I mean, he's already made backdoor deals with them long before this election. So again, during the last administration, Biden and his son lined their pockets, and that's well known stuff. I mean, this is all public information. This isn't any secret. It's just a matter if people want to hear it or not, or believe it. So again, I really think there could be problems going forward. Again, maybe at some point China will turn around and say, hey, we're going to do the right thing. I just don't see it happening. But this is the sign of the times that we're in right now.
Yeah, well, they've got their own problems. Nothing is perfect. Nature is conspiring against them. Their own people have had enough. And I think that that things are coming to a head in China and going to change very, very quickly. One final thing, gold and silver, they're still moving sideways. They're down a little bit today, but it looks like the consolidation continues.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Today we have gold futures down about $8 at the moment. You have silver futures lower by about 0.8%. But again, this is what you want to see. If you're a gold or silver bull, this is exactly what you want to see for a longer term move to much, much higher prices. So I'm very impressed with what we've seen in gold and silver. I love the way it's coming down. I love the way it's consolidating. It's gradual. It's almost as if you're landing from a parachute, just a nice, soft landing, and then you're going to get another chance to go a lot higher down the road.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. I think now, September, October, the most dangerous months. And although, according to your charts, you're not really seeing anything cataclysmic for the next 60 days, are you?
No, I'm not. But, again, I wasn't sure that we would see a bear raid ahead of Labor Day. I've been in a cautious stance, as you know. I have not been really taking on a lot of new positions. In fact, all the positions that I currently hold, or the two swings I currently hold, are in the money. And, they actually acted well on Friday. Now, today they're down a little bit. But again, I've already taken first profits. I have my stop loss at break even on the remainder of the position. And that's how you want to position yourselves in this kind of environment, because when you have this kind of highly contested election, I mean, we're seeing things this election season we've never seen before. I think you got to protect yourself. Got to be a little bit on guard. And we're within that 60-day window. A lot is going to happen between now and then. And I think traders just want to be a little bit more cautious going forward.
All right. I think we will leave it at that. Make sure you go to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com. Check out his trading record, Twitter feeds, at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Email us with your questions, concerns, and anything else you'd like to know. And that's it. The email address is kl@kerrylutz.com. And Nick will pick up tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds, at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.